My beloved punks and skins, within this past year, the epidemic of rape, sexual assault, and domestic abuse has reached a point beyond which it will no longer allow itself to be ignored. Some of you may choose to believe that I am unqualified to offer any insights into this issue. However, by the end of this broadcast, what you will know is where my positional sentiments rest. I, in turn, know the attention spans with which I am dealing. So let's cut the frills. We are faced with 5 variables: the rapists, the false accusers, celebrity free pass, the general public, and the victims, to whom I refer to as survivors. False accusations. For every one false accusation, there are over 1,000 all too real cases of sexual assault, which is why that 1% of false accusers stands accused. You not only condemn innocent people, you enable ignorant, fat-headed rape apologists to go on dismissing sex crimes as false alarms and exaggerations. You burn up the resources and best intentions of rape awareness support groups everywhere, but worse still, you further injure every individual who has in fact been brutalized by rape. You do this by undermining the validity of their claims and by reinforcing that smokescreen of confusion which rapists count on having in order to go on attacking. False accusers make real rapists feel safe. You help them thrive. And for what? A briefly empowering, smugly sanctimonious look at me bid for attention? You and your selfishness are beneath contempt. Next variable, the general public. That John and Jane Q public are blind, oblivious, or in denial is only part of the problem. Recently, there has been an expansion, a broadening of terms as to what constitutes rape and sexual assault. John and Jane Q public only know the rigid, extreme guideline of yesteryear. If they are truly to understand today's situation, it will fall to those of you who are conversant in these newly emerging concepts to inform, enlighten, and educate everyone who either cannot or will not grasp them. Kids, people is stupid. However, individually, person by person, you can raise awareness. You can because you must. Next variable, celebrity free pass. If you are somehow unacquainted with celebrity free pass, here it is. Who did it? Who is the rapist? Burn him at the stake. String him up. Off with both of his heads. Oh, it's who? It's so-and-so? Oh, well, if it's so-and-so is so nice and sweet, and we all love so-and-so is very popular and is in all of the biggest bands, and besides, so-and-so would never do anything like that, not in a million years, and even if he did, it's so-and-so. That, boys and girls, is celebrity free pass, and if you cannot perceive the casualties of this, then more criminally stupid you could not be. Next variable, the rapist, him, her, itself. If you are guilty of this trespass, you have 2 courses of action. You can plead guilty to your crimes, own up to them, make some attempt to account for yourself, and then lay yourself open to the consequences. Tribal law and street justice notwithstanding, I cannot predict what sort of judgment you will face. I can tell you that while pleading guilty with honesty, humility, and remorse is most likely not going to be enough, I believe, if nothing else, it is a start. If, on the other hand, you are a rapist and you make no apologies, indeed have no regrets, and even now are eagerly awaiting your next opportunity to strike, I vow to you that sooner or later you will be caught. It is only a matter of time, and whatever manner of curb-stomping castration is awaiting you will only be the beginning of your punishment, because if you believe that clemency is going to be denied to someone who pleads guilty of rape and is genuinely ashamed of themselves, divine for yourself just what sort of forgiveness you will be shown by anyone under God. And now, the final variable, the survivors. No cliches. No homespun words of wisdom can obscure the circumstances laid bare. Having been raped, even should your wounds heal, there will remain with you a scar as a constant reminder of the way in which you were compromised. Nothing can undo what has been done to you. We all know this. We also know that it should not ever have happened, and that it must not ever happen again. Not to you, not to anyone. We also know, beyond any doubt, that it will. And here is where it all hangs in the balance, my punks and my skins, whereas I wish the best for this world, for this nation, even for this city. At the risk of being provincial, the focal point of my concern is the extended punk rock skinhead community and all of you, the eternal kids who comprise this elaborate family. With that stated, we now come to the crux of this nightmare. How can this situation be arrested? Where can you go for help when help is nowhere at hand? Society is stalemated. You are living at a time in which you have no president to turn to for compassion. At the local level, for every one of you confident in going to the popo, there are 100 of you who deem such a complete waste of time. At the punks level, valiant crews and crusaders are militantly hunting down the fascists and the boneheads, so hell-bent on the racists that they overlook the rapists. Could this be because sexual assault is a low priority to them, or could it be because so many of their own ranks are guilty of indiscretions unnumbered? Well, now I don't know. You tell me. Well, what then is the solution to this crisis? I will tell you truly, children, I do not know. What I do know, what I can tell you is that in a city such as this, where offenses and offenders abound, the one plausible stance is defense. I do not only mean the self-defense of karate lessons and rape whistles, of pepper spray and stun guns, and I do not remotely mean hiding behind some computer screen in bandwagon anonymity. I mean the self-defense of personalized responsibility. Individualized, autonomous responsibility for yourself, for your body, for your safety. Self-defense via self-awareness, self-esteem, and self-control. And here, by self-control, I mean it as it applies not only to those of you who are at risk of being violated, but also for those of you who have never committed such an act, yet, for whatever reason, you find that you might actually possess the capacity to cross that unthinkable line, that line which is unmistakably defined by the finality of that one abiding word, consent. Clearly stated, ongoing mutual consent. Here is where you stop. You stop and you take the responsibility of self-awareness, and you decide between what you will offer to this world as a person or what you will inflict upon it as a predator. Because once that line is crossed, there can be no going back. Not for you and not for those who you victimize. You will have decided for the both of you. Will you choose to wear the self-inflicted label of rapist every day for the rest of your life? Personal responsibility, kids, and self-defense. Now here comes the bottom line backlash as any number of you scream at me, it's punks and it's skins. Sex crimes are a part of our subculture, always have been, always will be. It is the nature of the beast. Well, punks and skins, is it? Is it the nature of the beast? Because if it is, then it is high time we had the beast fixed. Thus endeth our indictment. Only a bunch of empty words submitted by an outdated old man, by a man no less. If all I have submitted to you is a jumble of forgettable words, then by all means, forget about them, but give life, give meaning, and give action to your own words, to your own voices, to your own resistance and your own volition to stand up in solidarity and be counted, not as any kind of victims, but as survivors who are going to prevail. In closing, statistics indicate that women are the majority of those targeted for sexual assault, and that the majority of the offenders are males. This does not mean that rape recognizes gender. Males, men, guys, and anyone out there who is in between, you are also vulnerable to these dangers. You are also at risk. If ever there was an argument for sexual equality, this is it. But as for those statistical inequalities, may I remind women everywhere that generally speaking, each of you is endowed with a set of wonderfully sharp knees and two hands which make excellent talons and magnificent fists. And whereas anyone acquainted with me knows that I am not given to vulgar vernacular, when it comes to any showdown between your wannabe rapist and your will-be self-defense, ladies, girls, gals, in the immortal words of our own juicy carcass, punch him in the dick. Defense!